Hey guys, so I've got a new video for you today. I've just bought something, I guess not towards the PC build as such, but more for tidying up the desk and possibly, hopefully, to get rid of these books here. So I've actually gone out and purchased a monitor desk mount with the Dual Vesa mount. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I'm planning on mounting the two displays I've got here onto this. So, I mean, I'm not too sure what to expect with this. It is compatible for 13-inch to 27-inch displays, most displays that is, and rated for 15 kilos per stand. This display here is actually quite heavy because it's got the full glass front, so we'll see how we go there. But in the box we've got instruction manual, little bag of hardware with an Allen key, and then all the arms and such in here. It bolts onto the desk, but everything is sort of stacked on top of each other, so it might be a little bit hard to get to everything. Here we go, so that's the main stand there. Looks like a toolless design where you can turn this little thing here to unscrew it. So what I'll do, guys, is I'll get it all put together and put it on the desk, put the monitors on it, and see how we go. I do also have another monitor coming soon. That will be in a new video though. Okay, hey guys, so as you can see, I've got the Bractech dual monitor stand set up here and all going. You may also notice that there's a new display here. So this here is the Dell P2715Q 4K display, 27-inch. This display's got a 6 millisecond response rate and is extremely nice. The color calibration is spot on. It looks amazing. I've had this up here for a couple of days. I did mention in the first part of the video I'd probably do this in another video, but the display arrived quicker than I expected, so I thought I'd include it in this one here. So yeah, I've got to play some games on this display and it looks absolutely amazing. It's 60Hz display, so not as fast a refresh rate as this one, which I've overclocked to 120 Hz, but it still looks smooth and perfect. Now I'm running a Strix GTX970, so some games that I play don't get high enough frame rates to work at 4K, but some of the games I've been playing are definitely at a playable frame rate. So I mainly play Counterstrike Global Offensive, which I can still get around 200 frames per second with the VSync off, and it looks amazing. The color detail is amazing, and this display here is also 6 milliseconds, the response rate on that one. The stand itself is extremely sturdy. We can wiggle these around and there's barely any movement. Looking at the back, it looks very strong and stable holding these two displays. It's got quite good cable management. It's got quite good cable management clips on the back for managing all the cabling. And I guess the only negative I've got to say at this point would be that I can't see my rig anymore, which I put a lot of effort into looking nice. Another downside is my desk, which isn't quite wide enough to accommodate for that third display there, but it's that display is still usable. It can always be moved if it is a hassle, or I can move the display mount further to the right, so that's not really too much of an issue there as well. Now I'm running Windows 7 and it actually scales and displays 4K quite well. Before buying this display I looked into it quite a bit to see if I'd actually be able to use 4K effectively on Windows 7, and for anyone that had that same question, I can say for myself it works extremely well. If you've got good eyes and if you're getting a 4K display, you probably do. Okay guys, now I've actually already filmed this part of the review, but I thought I'd come back and redo it because I did a really poor job of it. I was really tired, things like that, so I thought I'd re-film it. So anyway, what I want to talk about was the inputs that the Dell display has, the 4K display. Now it's got DisplayPort in, full-size DisplayPort, mini DisplayPort in, HDMI in, and it also has 4 USB ports as well as a pass-through connector, although only 3 of those USB ports can be used for device connection and 1 is for charging. I've actually found I've been using the charging one quite a lot, as it doesn't require the pass-through to be connected, so I can plug my phone charger in, things like that, with knowing that it's not going to interrupt what I'm doing on the computer, which can always be annoying. Now there's also a second display port on the back, full-size display port, that all I can think of for is daisy chaining. I haven't played around with it or anything like that to figure out what it might be for though. We've also got a 3.5mm jack on the back, which I've been using to connect my speakers with. Now that port sends signal to the computer via the display port, so it's a little bit more convenient, and I can also hide the cables behind it a little bit better. Because I'm refilming this part of the video as well, I have got to play around with the display a lot more. A couple of weeks it has been since I filmed the original part of this video. So I've been playing all my games on the Dell display. I've barely even touched the second display. I'll come back to that why in a minute. Now on this display, of course I can't play all games at 4K, but the games I have been playing, I can play at 4K. I've mainly been playing Sid Meiers Beyond Earth, which is extremely addicting, and you can sink hours into that game. I've been playing Divinity Original Sin, which sort of takes me back to when I used to play Baldur's Gate, Neverwinter Nights, and games like that, and it's a lot of fun. And Counterstrike Global Offensive, which I can still get about 200 frames per second with the VSync off, so I'm pretty impressed by that, especially at 4K. Now what I want to try and do for you here, guys, is try and get the camera set up sort of so it can film each of these screens and show a little bit of gameplay footage with fraps running to show the frame rates I'm getting at 1440p on this display here versus 4K on this display here. Now after using this for a couple of weeks, I really do want to get myself a second GTX970 so I can play a lot more stuff at 4K. But we'll see how we go. They're coming down in price a lot now, so I might wait it out a few more months. Okay guys, so here we've got Shadow of Mordor running at 4K, everything maxed out. Right now we're sitting on about 24 frames. Very choppy, very laggy. I'll jump down from here and we'll get to the main part of the game. It is got quite low frames in that area. I don't actually know if you guys can see the frame rates in the top right running on fraps, so we're getting 22, 23 right now, jumping between those two numbers. So it looks okay here. As soon as I get into combat, so it's still about 23, 24 right now. But see, you do big turns like that and you really get some lag going on. I have actually played it for a little while like this. It can get a little bit frustrating with the frame rate drop, or the low frame rate, sorry. But depending who you are, you might find it playable, you might not. Also notice how the or you might not be able to tell, but the graphics on this are amazing at 4K. You can kind of get an idea. I don't know how well it's going to reflect across on the camera. Hopefully it gives a good comparison between the two displays. By the way, this display is a matte display. My other screen is glossy, so they might show a little bit different to each other on camera too. But yeah, so this is a little bit of Shadow of Mordor. So right now we're sitting on 19 to 20 frames. Okay guys, so I've loaded up a bit of Sid Meiers Beyond Earth here. This is a game I've been playing, or this particular game I'm in now, I've been playing for a couple of hours. Anyone that's familiar with this game, I'm on turn 105. I guess this would it was a good test for people that would want to play sort of a more strategy based game. This game's relatively slow moving, so you don't need a high frame rate, but maxed out this game right now as we sit is sitting on 51 152 frames per second. So we can move in and see there's a bit of stuff going on. We can move the map quickly across and force it to render a bit. It drops into the 40s. But by all means, this game is more than playable at this frame rate. Well, by me it is anyway. So not much I can do, so I'll move on to the next turn. Excuse me, sorry guys. This game looks amazing, I believe, at 4K as well. So I'm going to send these guys here. Probably not a good idea. See if these guys. So if this is the kind of game you wanted to play, like a slow-paced strategy game, you could probably even get away with playing it on or at 4K with a lesser graphics card. Although I have been told with this game, once everything gets big and there's a massive amount of map that has been uncovered, it can really be a strain on the graphics card to be able to display everything. So, I mean, there's that possibility as well, but at the moment, with everything I've got here, it's pretty good. Okay guys, I've loaded up a game of CSGO with expert bots. Just played a few rounds in. Just to give you guys an idea of this. So right now I'm getting 175 frames per second. It runs extremely smooth. We don't get really any tearing when I'm doing or moving around. And of course, definitely very playable at that frame rate. I play this a lot. And I always, or ever since getting this display, I always play it on this one. To be honest, I don't really notice a difference between a 60Hz panel and my other one that's been overclocked to 120Hz. There's no difference to my eye that I can tell. So that's sort of one of the main reasons I don't really touch the other display so much anymore. And once I get a dual link DVI to DisplayPort adapter for my Macs, I'll be able to use that other display with my Macs quite efficiently. Okay guys, so I've just loaded up a game on the other display. So right now we're getting around 280 frames per second. I ended up loading up a new game just because when I unplugged one display and plugged the other one in, it didn't like it so much, but also it doesn't really show so well through the camera when I'm watching, but the colour is definitely nowhere near as nice on this display that I'm looking at here compared to the 4K display. The 4K display is amazing to look at. So right now we're getting 300 frames per second, VSync off. In game I can sort of zoom around, it's still sitting. Right now we're sitting at 280. There's a tiny bit of tearing, but not super noticeable in fact. Going back to this monitor after I haven't really used it so much in quite a while, I actually forgot how poor the calibration is on this display. I mean, it is a cheap display, but it is supposedly using a high quality panel. No, I can't kill this guy. Here we go. Give him the teabag. Okay guys, so I've loaded up Sid Meiers on the 1440p display. Definitely does look a little bit smoother when moving the mouse side to side, things like that. Now in the settings it does recognize this as a 120Hz panel, and it reflects that in the settings with what it will be locked to when I choose the resolution. So right now we're running at 97 frames per second. I can see that if I move it around really quickly it's not dropping at all, it's actually going up. It's went up to 100 just there. So we can move units. Where's some I can move? So yeah, we can move some guys, and playing extremely smooth on here. In Shadow of Mordor right now I'm getting 42, 46 frames per second, definitely a lot smoother than with the 4K display. So it's sitting around 44, 45 right now during combat. Can move the camera around and it's not too bad. So I mean, I think 45 frames per second roughly is playable, although it definitely looks a lot nicer in 4K and on a display with a lot nicer color calibration. Okay guys, so what we can see here is behind the displays we've got the two arms that hold each of the monitors. Now these have little holes through them which I'm sort of using for cable management. I've also got the power cord for this display running down here and sort of flush along the back so you can't see it when you're sitting at the desk. Also down here where these cables are, there are actually little plastic clips that you can hook them onto. There's swivels on the back of the screens as well, and this part here you can adjust with an Allen, or loosen off with an Allen key and make them higher or lower as you want. So these will actually swivel quite a bit. It will pivot here and here as well as closer to the screen here. So you've got lots of options for moving them around. So this was quite cheap compared to what else was out there. Also, I couldn't find too many others that could handle a 27-inch display. Most of them sort of ended up to 24 inches and nothing bigger, and then you were sort of looking into a TV mount, which was sort of not really what I was after, as it was more of a wall mount. But guys, I'm really happy with this overall setup with the two displays mounted here, and yeah, it's definitely staying. I've got a lot of faith in this stand. It's been here for a few weeks and the displays haven't dropped or fallen, and they haven't even sagged on any of the hinges, which I'm pretty impressed by, considering without the displays on here it looks quite small. Thanks a lot for watching today guys. I hope you enjoyed my video about my new display, my old display and the new mount I've got. I'm really proud of it all. I'm really happy with the way it all looks. I also hope this video has helped you decide if the Dell P2715Q is the display that you might want to buy. I would highly recommend it. It's one of the best looking monitors I've ever seen and used. And yeah, thanks for watching guys. I'll see you on the next one.